Thank you for listening to the 209th ever episode of the Missouri Sports Podcast, brought to you by 106 Apparel and recording from the Rebel Advertising Studio in beautiful Springfield, Missouri. I'm one of your hosts, Cameron Albert, alongside my good friend and fellow Mizzou fan, Kyle DeVries. How are you doing today, Kyle?
I'm amazing.
You are?
It's freaking game week, Cameron.
Game week.
Let's go.
I'm wearing my official gold to sit in the correct section. We will be there.
Fantastic.
I think it sounds like we're going to meet up with some listeners that are Patreon supporters. If you are a listener, we're not going to have podcast shirts on, so you'll have to actually recognize us. Mm-hmm. But if you see us, say hi. If you don't want to talk to us, that's totally fine. Kyle doesn't want to talk to you either.
That's not true.
I'm just kidding. We're going to preview the Louisiana Tech game. We're going to talk about the depth chart and all of that. A few news items. Before we do, don't forget to subscribe on YouTube. Leave us a review on the podcast platform you listen to us on. And you can support us directly on Patreon, patreon.com/Missouri Sports Pod. When was the last time you went to a season opener? Have you ever gone to a season opener before?
Yeah, it's been a little while, I think.
I remember going to a game against Western Illinois where Henry Josie had 200 rushing yards in the first half. It was like the year that it was maybe the last year in the Big 12 when he tore up his knee. Mm-hmm. I went to that season opener.
We went to the home opener a couple of seasons ago against West Virginia. I think that was maybe the year they lost to Wyoming in week 1. But that was the first game at home that year.
Yeah.
I remember it being really hot.
Yeah.
I feel like a lot of those early season games we've been to, it's like, oh my gosh, it's hot. Yeah. Just like blistering sun.
Yeah, I'm not one to buy refreshments at games, really. At least I never was. I've kind of started doing that more.
Why? You're just really disciplined on a budget, or?
So I guess. I don't know. That's just kind of.
Just don't want to deal with it.
We grew up, like, my family didn't, we would take our own snacks to the movies and stuff. And, I don't know. Like, when we went to amusement parks and stuff, we didn't really buy stuff there because it's just expensive to get in.
That makes sense.
Well,
it's Missouri, and you need to support them with your investment.
Of course, yeah, that's how it works. Anyway, this was all to say that nowadays I'll buy a lemonade.
Okay.
Or something. That's a frozen drink, especially.
Doing your part.
It hits the spot.
Yeah, for real.
It's a night game, though. There was a little bit of, there was just some tweets earlier today. I guess Desiree Reed-Francois was talking about her experience at Virginia Tech, kind of with that. Obviously, they have an electric game atmosphere, and it's always known as a rowdy place to watch a game. So I think she kind of came in, saw the schedule, and was like, we need to figure something out here. So we're gonna have a home night game on Thursday against Louisiana Tech. You're looking at me like,
where did you say is
she
rowdy environment?
Virginia Tech, Blacksburg.
Okay. Yeah.
You don't know about them?
I've heard of them. She used to be out there?
Yeah.
Okay. I didn't know that.
Yeah. So now you got me questioning my entire life.
Nope. Don't do that.
Anyway, we needed this. I mean, I think the way the schedule previously was set up is we were going to go on the road to, I can't even remember where.
Middle Tennessee State. Yeah, like, why on earth were we going to play on the road against Middle Tennessee State? I have no idea. I think we were doing like a home and home from way back when, which they beat us at Mizzou. Yeah. Back 5 or 6 years ago, and so we were going to return the favor.
To be the other half of that.
I believe we just bought out the game and said no. Let's open the year at home and against a little better opponent maybe. And
how much for us to not play this game?
I mean, that was such a great move. And I mean, think about it. A lot of their games in the first half of the year are on the road. It's just, I don't know. I feel like you're an SEC school. You got to open the season at home unless you're playing a legitimate team on the road or something.
Yeah. Yeah. If you're playing a Power 5 team.
Like Wyoming. Just joking. No, thanks.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that was one of the things that made me think maybe she, just kind of gets it a little bit as far as, and they've been trying to do some fan experience improvements and stuff like that. But, not having a night game at home last year, and then that was like a pretty significant complaint, rightfully so, of the entire fan base.
That was brutal.
And to get that corrected immediately, I don't know, it's a good sign.
Yeah, they're definitely trying to innovate, that's for sure.
Some random news notes before we get to the proper preview. Mizzou is going to have I can't actually remember if he's 5-star. If he's not, he will be, I think. 2024 basketball recruit John Bowl will be on campus for an official visit on the weekend of September 16th. He is a big man from CBC in St. Louis, and obviously going to be a priority in-state recruit for Coach Gates, and be good to get him on campus early.
Yeah, Gates is saying, I don't need the transfer portal. I'm just going to load up on talented high school kids.
That sounds good to me.
I'm fine with that.
We can still sprinkle in a transfer every once in a while.
Yeah.
On the NFL side of things, we were looking at former Tigers in the NFL. It was kind of a bad day for some former Tigers. Tyree Gillespie was waived by the Titans, and Tyler Beatty was waived by the Ravens. To make room for Kenyon Drake, of all people.
This hurts me deep. I really felt like Tyler Beatty had a good camp and it was a good landing spot. It was a pretty good landing spot for him. I think Baltimore, they're kind of a unique offense, especially with Lamar Jackson at quarterback. I don't think that they utilize the pass game with their running backs as much as they could, and that's kind of what Tyler Beatty specializes in. So I definitely think there are definitely better fits for Tyler Beatty's skill set. So maybe he'll end up on a team that throws to the running backs a little bit more. But
I thought they might make a concerted effort to do that more when he's in the game.
Maybe.
I thought they might, switch it up with him a little bit.
Yeah, it is disappointing. I mean, they're basically they're investing in old man Mike Davis, and like you said, they picked up Kenyon Drake today, who was cut by the Raiders a week ago or so. So I don't know, just kind of picking up some mediocre vets who I think don't have much juice left is an interesting move, but hopefully he'll end up on another roster for sure.
He could still be a practice squad guy for the Ravens as well.
Yeah.
Mizzou football got a transfer commitment from Miami cornerback Marcus Clarke, and he might play this year. Sounds like they're gonna pursue the waiver process for getting him immediate eligibility.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, we'll see him next year, and I think he still has 3 years of eligibility.
Yeah, that's what it sounds like. He's a cornerback who was at Miami, and I believe he was recruited potentially by Blake Baker, who's now Missouri's defensive coordinator whenever Blake Baker was at Miami. It sounds like there was some kind of overlap there. They obviously have a connection, and that's why Missouri seemed to kind of be the destination from the get-go after he transferred. So I think he had like 25 tackles and an interception last year, started 4 or 5 games for Miami, maybe got passed up on the depth chart this fall, so he was probably looking for a new opportunity somewhere else. And
yeah, he came out and said very plainly just playing time.
Yep.
Wasn't going to get any reps. So
yep. And even if he were to get a waiver to play this year, I think there's definitely at least 2 or 3 guys clearly in front of him, and I don't know that he would play a ton anyway. So if he has to sit out the year and redshirt, I'm totally fine with that.
Yeah. All right. So I didn't say this up front, but after we preview Louisiana Tech, we do have SEC Pick-Em plus Nebraska as well.
That time of the year?
Let's get into it. Louisiana Tech, week 1, home night game. We'll be there. It's going to be a lot of fun. Louisiana Tech, not a very good team. We should win this game. I'll tell you a little bit about them, though. Head coach Sonny Cumbie, in his first year at Louisiana Tech, he is installing a new air raid offense. And Sonny Cumbie, he was offensive coordinator at Texas Tech and TCU, learned from Mike Leach and Cliff Kingsbury. And you need to look up what he looks like. Sonny Cumbie looks like he absolutely does air raid offense, and he looks like kind of like a mad scientist character a little bit, where I can just see him spending hours just like trying to add a one little wrinkle to this like receiver route tree to improve the offense. So I'm going to call him the mad scientist.
My phone's acting really slowly. I'm still trying to bring up this photo. Yeah, I can kind of see that a little bit. Kind of got some crazy hair going on.
Yeah. And maybe just a little bit of a wild look in his eye. Like you could just see, he's up till 4 a.m.
Oh yeah.
And then he like has a eureka. I can have this wide receiver do this, and that's a touchdown.
I like that a lot. I think that fits very well with his appearance. He almost has like a. I don't know. I'm not gonna say that. Yeah, a great name, great head of hair, and
great offensive mind.
Yeah.
I don't think he's going to be able to install the air raid to the level that he would like for game one at a new school.
Yeah, lots of new players on that offense too.
Yeah, I think they are replacing 10 starters from last year's offense, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. They only won 3 games last year. They do have a new starting quarterback. His name is Matthew Downing. He transferred in from TCU. He's a redshirt junior. I think he overlaps with Sonny Cumbie being the offensive coordinator there. I think he probably recruited him. So he came over. And, like I said, their offense will be explosive, probably in this game from time to time. And they're going to run fast tempo, try to get a lot of possessions, a lot of plays. And, if there's reason to be a little bit concerned that they might put up more points against Missouri than we'd be comfortable with. We have to assume Missouri's defense has improved from last year, and they're going to have better athletes, and Louisiana Tech won't be able to just score at will. But I could see when you have a high possession game, it's going to be more of a high scoring blowout than 35-0 score, I think.
Yeah, I think probably a lot of the listeners remember 2 weeks ago I sat here in this very spot and talked up every individual member of the starting defense, and that's going to be tested right off the bat, whether or not we were right in thinking that this defense will be better. There's every reason to think they will be improved, and on an individual level and on a team level. And I think the secondary is kind of our strength, which I think can create a lot of problems for an air raid offense that's kind of just starting to develop. But yeah, it's absolutely possible that there's some explosive plays that happen and maybe catch us off guard a little bit, catch us out of position, whatever it is. But whatever the case is, it should be a fun game just from an entertainment standpoint, even if there are some explosive plays from Louisiana Tech, because that gives some of those new studs on Mizzou's offense to have a chance to go out there and make some plays too. So I don't think we really want to get into a race or a shootout or anything like that, but and I don't think that it necessarily will be, but I wouldn't be shocked at all if Louisiana Tech breaks off some big plays. Yeah,
and I think for every big play that they get on offense, I can see there being, an interception or a big, sack by the defense that's going to derail a drive. So I don't think they're going to be able to move the ball very well consistently. But like I said, with that many possessions, there's going to be an opportunity for just a broken play on defense or missed coverage or something to turn into a touchdown.
Now, whenever we played Mississippi State 2 seasons ago, obviously they came into that game. It was the last game of the season, the regular season. Mm-hmm. They came to that game running the ball less than 10 times a game almost. And Mike Leach is just absolute pure air raid of an offense, and they just completely exploited Missouri's weakness and just started running the ball a bunch. Any chance we see any change of strategy from what they might typically do? Try to exploit what they know about Missouri. Yeah. Is last year they were god awful at stopping the run.
Might as well test it.
Yeah.
I don't think it'll work.
Probably not.
Just the talent disparity.
Yeah.
If they tried to pound the ball on the ground, even for a few possessions, they're going to have to score on those possessions, because I think the Missouri offense will have a good day. And if you slow the game down at all, then you're losing your advantage of, having a ton of possessions. So I could see them running the ball with some success, but that they'll be too weak there, in
And they're
my
probably
opinion.
going to be behind most of the game anyway.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So they could try that, and we may have a lower scoring first quarter without a lot of action. But as soon as, I think in the second quarter, Missouri's offense will pull away, and then if they did try to do that, they would have to kind of abandon it towards the middle of the second quarter and the entire second half.
Yeah.
Missouri's offense, we've kind of been alluding to the fact that they should have a good game. It'll be a nice opportunity for Brady Cook to get comfortable and spread the ball around to his weapons. And really, across the board, the offensive line shouldn't have any issues. The running backs, we should be able to get a rhythm with somebody. And we should have talked about the depth chart before we started.
I was going to bring that up, but I figured we could work it in later.
Yeah. We'll get back to the depth chart. The running backs shouldn't have the entire offense will probably have some first game of the season issues, but they ought to be able to hit their stride and just show that they're the more talented group out there.
Yeah. Hopefully, exactly like you said, this is an opportunity to get some confidence, start off the year hot, and get the ball in the hands of the playmakers.
We'll do the depth chart, and then we'll hop back down to giving a score prediction for the game.
Okay.
So on offense, a shout out to Dave Matter for tweeting a picture of the depth chart. On offense, starting with quarterback, we knew Brady Cook was going to be the starter, but then behind him, we have Jack Abraham or Sam Horn or Tyler Macon. And Coach Drinkwitz has said legitimately the circumstance will dictate who comes in if Brady Cook gets hurt, or if they're, have a nice lead and they want to bring somebody in. They'll decide in the moment, basically, it sounds like.
I mean,
do you think he would know, like in pregame, who's coming in?
I think so. Based on what happens, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like if there is an injury and we're in a game where we need somebody to come in and win the game, like close it out or something like that, then I think it's probably Jack Abraham with his experience and, maybe being there before. But if they're blowing somebody out and they just want to give somebody reps, it has to be Sam Horn, right?
I think so.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen some practice film of
Unless
Sam
you're
Horn.
worried about him losing his red shirt.
I don't think that's something they're too worried about. And there's not too many games on the schedule where I think they're going to be blowing somebody out enough to bring in the backup. So might as well get him out there early. But, we've seen a couple clips of Sam Horn in practice. Incredibly small sample size and just watching practice video, but he looks like he could be what we hoped he could be. Just beautiful ball.
Yeah, it honestly the closest thing since Drew Lock as far as just the ease of the throws that he's making.
Yeah, just the throwing motion.
Yeah, and
Very
just
natural.
how he looks. Yes, absolutely, very smooth. So Brady Cook will be the quarterback, and he should be in for a pretty good game. Hopefully we see Sam Horn once we have a nice lead. At running back, we have two groups of three. We have three first stringers, Elijah Young, Cody Schrader, and Nathaniel Pete. And then backing them up, we have Taj Butts, Michael Cox, and BJ Harris. So I don't think I've ever seen anything like that
I don't think I have
on
either.
a depth chart.
Yeah, it's kind of weird. That's just kind of the nature of the room, I think, right now. There's no clear leader, and, that's definitely the biggest question mark on the offense by far is just, who's going to be getting the ball there and who's going to take the lead. But I was a little bit surprised, I guess, to see, Michael Cox and BJ Harris, at the bottom. Tavares Jones isn't even on the six deep, which is, I guess, I wouldn't say concerning, but he's definitely probably the highest upside guy in the room. So I don't know. It's gonna be interesting to kind of see if that changes at all through the year and how they use guys situationally. I think Nathaniel Pete will probably still end up getting the most carries on the season, but I know he had some like soft tissue, like stuff going on in camp, and so maybe he missed a few practices and stuff with some injuries. But I still think he's probably the best candidate to take over the role if anyone's going to do it.
So do you think in this first game we'll see any of that second group? Butts, Cox, Harris?
Yeah, I think we'll see like 4 different running backs, and they'll just kind of see who the hot hand is. It is a little bit surprising even that Elijah Young was like number 1 on the depth chart, and maybe that's just because he is the one that's the most healthy right now. But
is that how we read that, though? I feel like I don't know that we read it Young, Schrader, Pete in that order.
They're just all 1A, 1B, 1C.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean,
it'd be interesting to see who's literally on the field for the first snap.
Right. Yeah, I mean, Elijah Young, if you look what the coaching staff has done, in previous years, I mean, they put him out there some, but he isn't super consistent, and they clearly just wanted to ride Tyler Beatty in every moment possible, and even in some of the the close distance stuff, they would put Michael Cox in there, and so I don't know, they haven't seemed to trust Elijah Young a lot in recent seasons, but I mean, he's a year older now, so, and he's got a lot more opportunity, so I don't know, I think it's just going to be a revolving door of guys,
at
least early.
We'll figure something out. Then at tight end we have Tyler Stevens as it's hard to read this depth chart, honestly.
Too many oars.
Yeah. We have Tyler Stevens or Kibet Chepiator. Kibet Chepiator.
My boy.
Who is that?
He's a walk-in tight end.
Okay.
Walk on, not walk-in. Okay. A walk-in appointment. He's like a graduate student. Like he's like probably 25 years old.
I've never heard of him. So I think I saw him like on the roster list, but I didn't recognize him.
Oh, come on. I've talked to Chepiator before.
We're going to be talking him up this year, I think.
I mean, they're going to have to. We're going to have to put him out there, I think.
But then Ryan Horstkamp is second string, if I'm reading this correctly, by himself.
Yeah, a little disappointing.
Yeah. I predicted Tyler Stevens to have a breakout year as far as, compared to the production.
What's a breakout year for a brand new tight end?
I said that he would this year have more receptions, yards, and touchdowns than he had in his career at Buffalo.
Okay, so
that was
if he gets 2 touchdowns, he's a breakout?
Correct.
Oh, okay.
And 200 yards.
Wow, we'd take it, right?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of weapons on this offense. If your tight end is coming in, providing blocking plus 200 yards and a couple touchdowns, I'll take it.
I saw an interview he did fairly recently where he was jazzed. He was high energy, just ready to roll.
I mean, coming from Buffalo to Mizzou, playing in the SEC,
almost uncomfortably excited, about just.
I like
playing
the sound
football.
of that.
Yeah,
that's what I want.
Yeah.
All right, moving on to the wide receivers, we have the only player that is solidly the number 1 guy at their position is Luther Burden. Everybody else has an or next to their name. There's so many ors.
Yeah.
Luther Burden by himself. Then behind him is Towski Dove or Chance Looper. But also Chance Looper or Mookie Cooper or Towski Dove are all listed separately. And then Dominic Lovett or Barrett Bannister in the slot with Mekhi Miller behind them. So it sounds like for the first play of the game, it'll most likely be Looper, Burden, and Lovett out there. But it could be Mookie Cooper or Barrett Bannister.
I do think those are I don't know. I mean, Towski Dove is a very good player, but as far as our highest upside, most complete, explosive wide receivers, I think those are the 3 guys. Burden, Looper, and Lovett for sure. I think those guys have the potential to be really good.
I was, I've been talking up Towski Dove pretty much all off season, and
he might be 4th or 5th guy.
Yeah. Which is insane. I mean, he has been so reliable in his time at Mizzou, but if these younger guys are proving that much, I mean, we know Coach Drinkwitz likes experience, and if the young guys are stepping up and pushing him down the depth chart,
Yep.
I think
That's a win.
we already thought the wide receiver group was going to be the best group on the entire team. And seeing the depth chart makes me think that they may be ahead of schedule.
Yeah.
And even with thinking that they're going to be the best, they might actually outperform expectations.
Do you have anything you want to maybe walk back or anything you want to just say about Burden? Anything you want to get off your chest about Luther Burden before season starts?
Yeah. I'll get something on my chest.
Okay.
I don't think Luther Burden is going to have 500 receiving yards this year.
Okay, wow, he doubled down. He doubled down, everybody.
I would be thrilled if he does. But that is rare for a true freshman
Wow.
wide receiver to come in and have a huge impact.
Based on a couple of things I've heard from you this episode, it sounds like you wouldn't even want to buy his chips.
I love...
You don't want to spend up on anything. Like, no, you're a budgeter. You don't like Luther Burden at all.
All right. I'll set a few things straight. First of all, I'm not a budgeter. I'm just cheap. Okay?
Okay, so that's...
The budget's up here.
Okay. It's
Okay?
like maybe even worse.
Exactly.
Yeah. Me too, though.
Okay.
Yeah.
I feel like that's relatable.
That's fine.
You don't really know how much money you
Nobody
have or how
actually
much...
budgets. It's just like, well, we were over budget this month. Oh, well,
Yeah.
It's
My
like-
wife used to budget. And then, it's like, well, we went over on entertainment.
Yep.
And like,
What are we going to do about it?
Take it out of the food budget, I guess.
No Luther Burden chips next month.
Luther Burden chips, now, would that go under entertainment or food?
Are you eating it or keeping it as a collectible?
Both.
That's a good question. We'll get a bag for each category.
Yeah, I'd probably go food, but I don't know. I mean, that's some serious like accounting philosophy problems there.
Yeah. We can move some stuff around in the books
Sure.
to make that work.
Sure.
What were we talking about?
Oh yeah, how you don't think Luther Burden's...
Okay. First of all, that. Second of all, I love Luther Burden. I think he's going to be incredible. Here's what I think about Luther Burden. He is the most polished freshman receiver I remember seeing. I mean, we're talking about the guys that go to Alabama. Like,
Yep.
Smith, Waddle, Jerry Jeudy, who else? Like, that's the type of player we're getting. And I think he's got the best hands. He's right up there with the best of that group. Route running, he's going to be up there with the best of that group.
Maybe even harder to tackle than some of those guys you just said.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, I would have to look up how they compare size-wise, but Jalen Waddle is a solid comp, I think, for Luther Burden. And I wouldn't have thought... I don't know. I think Luther Burden is ahead of where I imagined he would be at this point. And I think Ennis Rakestraw did an interview, and he was talking about going up against Luther Burden in practice. And he kind of just smiled a little bit and was like, he is really good.
Yeah.
And he was talking about how Luther Burden doesn't care about his own stats. You would never know he's a 5-star player. He just gets to work, wants the team to win.
Mm-hmm.
And every little clip you see of him from practice or the scrimmage highlights we've seen, the spring game,
Yeah.
he's just always making the correct play.
Doing what he does.
And looking smooth and effortless.
Here comes the butt.
No, that's the type of player that in their first season in the SEC comes out and catches 29 passes for 380 yards and 4 touchdowns.
That's fine. That's rational. I'll accept it.
And then double it next year.
Sure. Yeah, it's we have lofty expectations, and even if he is everything that we thought he was going to be, it might take a little bit of time to get there. But I do love like kind of the humility from him and like Dominic Lovett. Like some of the things I've heard from them in interviews, it's kind of like they understand that kind of freshman wall is really, really hard to get over, and they're looking long term, and I really love that from the leaders on the offensive side of the ball.
Yeah, I mean, we're getting that from Brady Cook as well. Moving on to, I hope I cleared my name of any Luther Burden.
It's not up to me.
Moving on to the offensive line. We've got fewer oars, thank goodness. There is a clear-cut first-string offensive line of Javon Foster, Xavier Delgado, Connor Tollison, Connor Wood, and Zeke Powell. You feeling good with that?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, a little bit of lack of experience there at right tackle. If something happens to Powell, it's a little scary. I don't know who's going out there if that happens. I don't know if it's
true freshman Armand Membao
potentially. Yeah,
on the list here.
Yeah.
No real surprises there. That was.
Yeah, and hopefully Hiron White. He's out for the first game. His injury status is just kind of like perpetually maybe, and he's probably injured.
Mm-hmm.
But if he is able to get healthy sometime this season, then he'll obviously fill in there at right tackle, and hopefully he's good to go soon.
All right, moving on to the defense.
Defense was definitely a little bit easier to predict.
Yeah, no real surprises. No huge surprises anyway. We've got Jeffcoat and McGuire at the ends. We've got Darius Robinson and Jaden Jernigan on the inside of the defensive line. That's a good group right there. And, definitely question marks behind the starters on the defensive line and linebacker. There's definitely question marks behind the starters. But I feel really good about the starting group. I guess what would it be? The front six.
Yeah, I agree.
Then for linebackers, we've got Chad Bailey and Tyron Hopper. No surprises there. Damian Wilson and Will Norris will be backing up Chad Bailey. Devin Nicholson behind Tyron Hopper. So we did lose 2 linebackers to injury for the season. Not sure if how they would have factored into this list, but they probably would. Hicks probably would have been in that conversation with Wilson and Norris, I would say.
Mm-hmm.
Then at cornerback, the starters are Chris Abrams-Drain and Ennis Rakestraw. No surprise there. Drayden Norwood, DJ Jackson, and LJ Hewitt will be the backups.
Yeah, I've heard really good things about Norwood. I think we'll see plenty of him, even though he probably won't start. That's a pretty good group right there.
Yeah, Jackson got some starting experience last year.
Yep. Yeah, good young player.
The star safety position, we got Martez Manuel, followed by Dalen Carnell.
Pretty solid.
Then the other safeties, Jalen Carlisle and Joseph Charleston. And backing up Charleston, we have Jelani Williams, who has been talked up a bit from the coaches recently.
Yeah.
And then behind Carlisle, we have Tyler Hibbler and Jamarion Wayne.
Yeah, I feel like that's really maybe the only thing that we didn't predict was kind of the backups for that position, Tyler Hibbler and Jamarion Wayne. So it's good to see those guys. I mean, they're both true freshmen, so hopefully there's no injuries there because they would be pretty green, but good to see that they're making an impact early potentially.
Special teams, the only thing that was undecided was who was going to be punting, and Sean Keating will be the starting punter.
Who's kicking?
Harrison Mevis.
Did you have to look?
Yeah, I had to make sure.
That's good. Yeah, just
you never know. Yeah. Not everybody. Job security.
That's
not
true.
Everybody has it.
You gotta keep your job.
Yeah.
Gotta do enough to keep it.
Right. Every week. Don't think it's secure.
It's a battle.
All right. So back to Louisiana Tech. What's the best case scenario for this game for Mizzou?
I mean, best case is we run away with it early, make them get uncomfortable and run plays they're not accustomed to yet. Obviously, like you said, 10 out of 12 guys on the starting offense are completely new, and Missouri just confuses them. They just completely are in shambles on offense, and Missouri blows them out. And Sam Horn comes in and looks good. No injuries.
And I would add the defense looks impressive.
Yeah, I think one area of opportunity for sure that they talked about in camp too, but maybe we could improve on last year was just causing turnovers. And I know Chris Abrams-Drain had some really nice interceptions last year, but outside of that, maybe Carly's had a one or two here and there, but I think this defense needs to just be more aggressive and a little more opportunistic, and I mean, got to be able to just flip the field with turnovers and stuff like that. So I definitely could see this game. I could definitely see Missouri forcing 2 or 3 turnovers easily in this game, whether it's fumbles or interceptions. So it could get kind of fun.
Okay, so imagine they've played this game, Missouri wins, but you've got questions. What did the game look like if you're a little uncomfortable coming out of it?
Yeah, I think especially in the first game of the year, Missouri's defense should just be fresh and really fast out there, and they should just really dominate athletically with some of the studs we've got in the secondary. So I think I'd be concerned if Louisiana Tech is just easily moving the ball, scores 24 plus points, or if maybe Brady Cook is scrambling a lot, and just I think that he can do that, but I just don't think that's what they want to do necessarily. And if he's just not finding open guys and just kind of is resorting over and over and over to scrambling out of the pocket and stuff, I think I'd be a little concerned about that, with maybe some bad offensive line play or something like that. In this matchup, I don't think I'm terribly worried about the front six there. But I think it's a good test for the secondary, and it's a good test for Brady Cook. So I think those are 2 things I'll probably be watching the most.
Yeah, and I think it's possible that the defense looks fine and is really not. I wouldn't be worried about them even if they give up a couple huge touchdowns or something, just because.
As long as Missouri wins comfortably, it's just okay, yeah.
What would give me pause is if Louisiana Tech is ripping off 6, 8, 12-yard rushes all game long. Even if they can't sustain drives, if they're breaking up, if they're running the ball up the middle for first downs fairly often, then it's going to give me a little, flashback to last year.
Especially in an offense that's not really even predicated
exactly
for that.
Yeah,
that would be concerning.
Yeah. So we're both. It sounds like we're both predicting a Missouri win. I'll go. You actually said the number 24 points for Louisiana Tech. You said something like if they score more than 24. I've got them right at 24. I've got Missouri winning this game 48-24.
That's pretty close to what I was thinking. I was thinking 42-27 Missouri. And if they do score 27 points, that's kind of right in that range where it's I don't know if we can say this defense is ready, and it might be a long season.
Yeah, if they score 10 points in the last
if it's
4 minutes of the game, that's a different story.
I agree.
I'd love to see the Missouri defense hold them to less than 20 points for all but the last 5 minutes of the game.
Yep, I'm with you.
I feel pretty good about that.
Mm-hmm. I see a crazy crowd too. That's what I want to see.
Yes. It sounds like we've got a lot of listeners that will be attending. A lot of guys on the Discord will be there.
Good weather.
Yeah. Night game. Who knows when we'll have another one.
That's honestly sad and true.
I did want to ask you, I want to start picking this game against the spread, the Mizzou game against the spread each week. So we've got Missouri favored by 19.5.
Seems a little bit large.
Yeah. So I've got Missouri covering that with my score prediction of 48-24. I don't know if Missouri's off. If we pull away early and Missouri's offense kind of shuts things down, I don't think that they would, though, because we have running backs and a backup quarterback that need reps. So I don't think they'll shut it down completely. I don't know. That's obviously a good number if it's coming from Vegas.
Yeah,
but
that's I'd probably, if I was just off the top of my head, I'd probably set it around maybe 17.5 or something like that. But it's not egregious, and Missouri could easily blow past that.
So let's see. We gave an actual score prediction, so there's no need to pick it again. But
I think mine was I don't think I have Missouri covering in my prediction.
Right.
I think it's 15.
And I do. And the over-under is 60.5. and I've got them blowing through that.
Have that
pretty
easily, yeah. Which I mean, I definitely think this could be a high-scoring game just based on the style. Stylistically, I think this, it could be a race.
Yeah, it would be a pleasant surprise if Missouri's defense looked dominant, and if they hold Louisiana Tech scoreless for the first half,
oh gosh,
then that's a good sign, and that
that'd be awesome.
Kind of destroys any of these predictions, but we'd be here for that.
Sure. And I know they've had quite a bit of turnover and they have a new coach and all this stuff, but Louisiana Tech definitely pushed some teams last year that would be on par with like a Missouri. I mean, I think Mississippi State, they lost by 1 point. Were there some other games that they were in close there?
They beat a mutual opponent with Mizzou, North Texas. Was that just last year that Missouri played North Texas? Jeez, seems like forever ago. Jay Macklin was still on the team. He transferred to North Texas. Yeah, I mean, they lost to some bad Conference USA teams, but then they never really got blown out a whole lot. So, yeah, last year at least they made a lot of games competitive, even though they weren't very good. They had a pretty bad schedule. And
last year, they were 3-9, which sounds awful, but they lost 35-34 against Mississippi State. They lost 39-37 against SMU. They lost by about a touchdown to number 23 NC State. They got destroyed by University of Texas San Antonio, who was ranked in the top 25. But yeah, they're just losing to weird teams. But they definitely played very, very well in the Power 5 opponents against the Power 5 opponents that they had. Yeah,
let's see if that carries over. They're ranked 113th out of 131 in SP Plus preseason predictions. I think that metric had them winning. It had them at 4.5 wins, and I think it's got Mizzou at 5.9 or something like that.
Yeah, sounds right.
Yeah. All right, we're expecting a win. Defense, surprise us. Offense, do your thing. Should be fun. What's the first touchdown of the season?
Ooh, I was actually going to ask you that earlier, and I totally forgot. Yeah, I think Missouri's going to start off really well in this game. Give me an explosive play, like a 40-yard touchdown for Chance Looper.
That sounds good. I think they'll have a nice. I think they might have a few chunk plays, but they'll have a nice methodical drive, first drive. And I'm going to copy Tristan from the Discord. He said Brady Cook, keeper, rushing touchdown.
Sounds pretty good.
I like it.
What's the first play of the game going to be? They going to come out swinging?
It would be kind of disappointing if they just turn around and hand it off. I think, I think
they just take a shot.
Give me a deep shot, but we'll have some underneath routes if that's well covered.
Sure.
So probably... Honestly, they'll probably have a deep route, and then he'll end up checking it down to the running back or something.
Yeah. Okay, one more. Actually, two more.
Okay.
Does Luther Burden score a touchdown in this game?
No.
And if there are, if there's a defensive turnover, what's the first one and who is it?
Give me the classic. Give me a Chris Abrams drain interception.
That's
he might take it all the way.
Yeah. Oof.
Pick 6.
Statistically, that's a pretty good guess.
All right, go win, Mizzou, and let's pick the rest of the SEC slate and Nebraska.
Oh man, getting off to a good start.
Yeah, so Nebraska played last week and Vanderbilt played last week. Vanderbilt played Hawaii and just destroyed them.
Yeah.
Nebraska played in Ireland against Northwestern. What were they? I think I saw Nebraska favored by 11 points.
Yeah, something like that. I think we were talking about it on Discord a little bit. They were 43rd in SP Plus, Nebraska, and Northwestern was like 89 or something like that. So Northwestern, and I mean, just why again? It's like for Nebraska fans, it's like a nightmare all over again. Where it's like they looked so much better than Northwestern in this game. Like, I felt like when I watched most of the game, honestly, and Northwestern just were boring on offense. Like, they just kept stumbling into these big plays. Nebraska looked much more like explosive and athletic on offense, but just somehow choked it away and kept throwing interceptions and stuff.
Somehow.
It was just so delightful.
Yeah.
Sorry, Cam.
That's fine. They're terrible.
They deserve it.
Yeah.
What's your thought on Scott Frost at this point? Are you just
Well, I mean, it's not looking good. That's for darn sure.
The onside kick.
Are you at the point where, just go ahead and only win 3 games so we can move on and start over?
I guess. I mean,
That's
that
pretty
wouldn't be
drastic.
Yeah, well.
Yeah, it is what it is, I guess.
Yeah, well,
Ready to sacrifice a whole season?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It gets to that point sometimes.
I hope they keep him forever.
Yeah, that'd be nice.
Yeah.
He needs to get to a bowl game and then just, stay around.
Yeah.
I guess.
Yeah.
That's best case scenario.
Right. All right. What do we have? Since it's the first week and since we lost to the Patreon guest pickers last year, and I'll just say it, mostly on the back of JD, one of our listeners who is just incredible at every little mini game we play.
He won our fantasy football league
won the
last
fantasy
year.
football league at a really good bracket in the bracket challenge, and so we are putting him on the spot week 1. Come defend your title. He's the people's champion. So we will be picking against him. The way this works is we pick all the SEC games unless they're playing an FCS team and there's no line or anything. And we pick Nebraska, and we pick them to lose.
Most of the time.
And
we're usually right.
If you pick the correct, we're not picking against the spread. We're just picking the winner. And if you correctly pick an upset, then you get an extra point.
And an upset is just whoever is predicted to lose according to Vegas.
Exactly. So,
Alrighty.
take it away, Producer Cameron.
Let's see. We got 10 games this week.
There's
so
some dandies on the schedule.
Week 1. Last week was actually technically week 0. I think I saw it called. So
Of course.
Whatever.
Of course.
Week 1. Number 11 Oregon at number 3 Georgia. Georgia is a 17-point favorite.
Georgia's at home.
Yep.
17 points. Okay, yeah. I mean, this is gonna be fascinating because obviously Georgia lost like almost their entire defense to the NFL, but we're gonna really see how their recruiting is tested.
Yep.
And I mean, honestly, 17 points sounds pretty big for a team that's not known for explosiveness and offense.
Believe it or not, their depth was okay on defense last year.
I think Georgia I think Georgia wins a close game.
Okay. I think Georgia wins, and I don't think it's going to be that close.
I mean, they lost Zamir White, they lost James Cook, they lost George Pickens.
Yeah.
Some other dudes that we don't know yet are there waiting in the wings.
Exactly.
Yeah. Would be nice.
I'll take Georgia, and Daddy JD also takes Georgia.
Okay.
Daddy JD is said.
Yep. That's his name on Patreon.
Alrighty. Number 23 Cincinnati at number 19 Arkansas. Arkansas is a 6-point favorite.
It's a good game.
Oh, I just want Arkansas to lose so bad.
I hate Arkansas. I gotta go with Arkansas. I think they just KJ Jefferson. He's a good player. Cincinnati lost Desmond Ridder. They lost Jerome Ford or whatever his name is.
Yep.
Not Gerald Ford. They lost
Former President Gerald Ford.
Yes, they lost him, and they lost like Sauce Gardner. Cincinnati, I don't think they reload like Georgia does, and I think they lose.
Yeah, Arkansas is going to win probably.
Give me Arkansas.
Those two are convincing of an argument.
Yeah.
I should just let you guys pick first.
Yeah, maybe.
Thanks for that.
Yeah, you're welcome.
And JD picks Arkansas.
All right, we got to mix it up at some point.
All right. We've got Troy at number 21 Ole Miss. Ole Miss is a 21.5-point favorite.
Ole Miss, another top 15 SP plus team that's not getting the poll votes like they maybe should. Ole Miss.
They lost Matt Corral.
True.
Scary at all?
I don't know much about Ole Miss this
they're
year.
gonna win.
They're supposed to be good.
Yep.
All right, I got Ole Miss, and so does JD. Number 7.
A lot of SEC homers in here.
Yeah. Number 7 Utah. At
7.
Yeah. Utah
at
good.
Florida.
Oof.
Utah is a 3-point favorite.
Utah by a million.
It's at Florida,
Yeah.
you said?
Yeah.
Utah's going to go drain the swamp. I say.
I did not know Utah was ranked that high.
They're good. They're going to make the playoffs.
You took Utah by a million?
Yeah.
Like a million points?
Yes.
Okay.
Utah to the playoff. I'm calling it now.
Okay, wow. Easy now.
Nobody will remember when it doesn't happen.
Who do you want, producer Cameron?
I'll take Florida.
Okay, give me Utah.
JD takes Florida.
Okay.
Okay, getting interesting.
Miami, Ohio, at number 20, Kentucky. Kentucky is a 16.5-point favorite.
Okay, Kyle, you think Kentucky's a fraud of a team, and you think they're going to
Prove it.
lose a bunch of games
I
this
would
year? Now's your opportunity.
Prove it. He points at me. Yeah, I would say I definitely do think Kentucky has some regression this year. They lost their offensive coordinator. They have some suspensions for some key players. Chris Rodriguez is going to miss a few games.
True.
Starting running back. They will have no problems whatsoever with Miami, Ohio.
Yeah, I'll take Kentucky.
Kentucky all around. Utah State.
Utah and Utah State. Wow.
At Alabama, number 1, Alabama. Alabama is a 41.5-point favorite.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, I'll take Alabama.
Yeah, I'll just write that down. Everybody on Alabama.
Yep.
41 points
It's
in a
insane.
spread.
Memphis at Mississippi State. Mississippi State is a 15.5-point favorite.
Yeah, I think Memphis is bad. I got to take Mississippi State.
Yeah, give me Mississippi State.
Everybody on Mississippi
That could be a
State.
high-scoring game.
Yeah.
Georgia State at South Carolina. South Carolina is a 12.5-point favorite.
That doesn't seem like very much.
Mm-mm.
Georgia State must be sneaky.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'd take the over for sure on that. Okay, whenever I say this is not betting advice
Are
necessarily.
you saying you take South Carolina?
If I was going to bet, I would take the over or the South Carolina would cover for sure.
Kyle is a seasoned sports bettor, as you can tell.
True.
Yeah, South Carolina all day.
Everybody on South Carolina. Florida State at LSU. LSU is a 3-point favorite.
What do you know about Florida State this year?
They're going to disappoint like they have the last few years.
That's the trend.
LSU lost. Remember, like their starting quarterback just like walked,
Yeah.
maybe like a month ago. He
Yeah.
took his
NIL money.
yes, and just was like, yes, yeah.
Yeah. And so
And
now that guy's going to start
That guy, yeah.
from Arizona
Daniels.
State. Yeah. Jalen Daniels.
Yes, is most likely going to start.
He was the transfer from Arizona State that visited Mizzou, and it was like
Yeah, I mean, it
everybody
sounded like
thought
he
that was
was
a done
like
deal.
legitimately going to come to Mizzou. Yeah.
Yeah. Now he's the
Uh,
starter for LSU.
Oh man, it's a toss up.
It's at LSU.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'll take LSU.
Jeez, they're only 3-point home favorites. Are they going to be bad this year? I hope they are.
Oh yeah,
Because they have Brian Kelly now, and he is an absolute loser.
and they have Makai Wingo.
That's true, too.
Any thoughts on him?
No.
Okay.
Seems like a nice guy.
Yeah.
LSU for the win.
I'll take Florida State.
Okay.
And JD takes LSU. Wow. All right, last game. North Dakota at Nebraska. There's no line.
There's no line.
Not that I
North
could
Dakota's
find.
FCS.
Oh,
Are they good, FCS?
I think you're thinking of North Dakota State.
Sometimes they're like.
North Dakota State, South Dakota State.
Last year they got beat by Missouri State. But
Ooh.
Missouri State made the playoff. But North Dakota has been known to make the playoff.
Okay, I'm stewing on this a little bit.
Me too.
Go ahead.
Who are you picking?
Well, who do you think? Freaking Nebraska.
Oh my gosh.
I'll
What a terrible
I'll
strategy.
take Nebraska.
Is it? I guess this is just a 1-point game regardless. There's no
Ooh.
line.
I think if you pick North Dakota and they win, you get 2 points.
All right, go ahead.
I'll take Nebraska.
Yeah, I still can't do it. Nebraska still just is too explosive.
All right.
It'll be close.
Everyone's got Nebraska. All right.
Good.
All right.
Week
So who-
1.
Who am I rooting for? Utah.
Yeah.
And LSU.
Mhm.
These are the games we were kind of differing on.
Yeah. And North Dakota.
Yeah. I'll take the L there.
How soon will we see the kid from TikTok that says cone?
Mm-hmm. Cone.
Why he is already?
He's gonna do like a stadium tour.
They already got him on Chipotle's social media, saying cone.
Yeah, I saw that.
And next up, Nebraska. I bet.
Oh yeah.
Oh damn.
I was already I was seeing a bunch of stuff on social media last week. People tying those two entities together.
I hope that if that poor kid's getting exploited, oof.
You better be getting compensated.
Yes, definitely.
NIL.
Yeah, get him an attorney.
Seriously.
All right, those are the picks. That's the week 1 preview. And anything else?
We're about 48 hours away. Right now, we're going to be even closer when you listen to this.
Can't wait to get a nice hot dog and some Luther Burden chips and a lemonade and enjoy the game.
Can't wait to just be back in that old environment, watching the old pigskin.
Yeah. Say a few more things like that.
Okay, that's all. I can't think of any more.
Okay. Are you gonna order food from your phone and then go get it out of a locker?
Probably not.
No, probably not.
Sounds
Maybe
way too complicated.
It does sound a little complicated, but you don't have to stand.
I gotta download an app for this.
You don't have to stand in the line, I guess.
Okay, well that's certainly
the idea.
appealing.
Will there be a line to get to your locker?
No, it's your locker.
Everyone has their own?
I don't know.
Wait, I have like my own. Like this is Kyle's locker.
Say your name on it.
No.
You can buy one.
You don't have your own locker, and there will not be a line to get to your locker. I know nothing about the system. I can guarantee those two things. Special thank you to our Patreon supporters at the $10 level and above: Britt Treese, Brian Smith, Ryan Demore, Tristan, Ben Smith, Parker, Daddy JD, Luis Hernandez, Tim Keynes, Tyler Harsel, Brandon Garofalo, and Brandon Hanks. Thank you.
Thank you very much, gentlemen. You can find this podcast on Spotify, Google Podcasts, and Apple Podcasts. We're on Twitter at Mizzou Sports Pod. And you can send us an email at MissouriSportsPod@gmail.com.
You can find our t-shirts and stickers on our online shop, MissouriSportsPod.BigCartel.com.
Thank you, everyone, for listening. We will see you next week after a win.